that Etsy takes a huge cut of everything.
Oh yeah, I know. I heard they actually just upped their like fees and stuff. So now people
Right.
are like moving on to doing it on Instagram or something, or I don't know,
I
making
don't
your own.
know.
What do you
I don't
do?
know where people sell stuff. Because I don't do it. You know, once in
Yeah,
a while I'll do a big purge of my stuff and I'll just kind of put out a call to people I know, or
yeah,
I'll just give it all away in a big bag on the sidewalk. I don't have the
yeah.
patience to do that shit that the vintage gals do where they like go to a Goodwill and buy something for $4 and like spruce it up and sell it for $50. I'm not doing any of that shit. That's annoying.
Well, I've been looking for new ways to make money. I've been doing some commercial auditions and extra work. That's
Cool.
cool. Today I did a reading, my first time ever auditioning as a mom. I did a self-tape, so it's official. I am now mom audition age. So that's something I'm gonna try to embrace. But I was a
I think you and I are both Hollywood mom age,
Hollywood
which
mom
bears
age.
no resemblance to like how old most moms are that I've ever met.
Yeah,
Like I'm 30 years old. By this point, most of the people I know still aren't moms. Some of them are, but
definitely
not many.
not in our fields and in our cities. Not in big cities. 30-year-old is not
Right.
mom age. But
Right, a 30-year-old creative is just an overgrown toddler still. Like I'm
exactly.
still me baby.
Same.
I kind of walk around putting stuff in my mouth that's not supposed to go there, and I have to be like followed around and put in my place. I'm a toddler.
Same. And I like that. I feel like I'm both very aged and very young at the same time. I've recently decided to call that baby wizard. Uh,
That's tight.
and
That's
I
so
like
true.
it. I'm very into
Uh,
that idea. Baby wizard. You know, be both like magical and aged and wise, but also baby.
it's spot on though. I mean, I don't even know about magical and aged and wise for me, but for sure the part where I'm baby and the part where I'm way too old to be a baby.
Yes.
Like it's not cute
Yes.
anymore, you know? I think it's kind of cute when like a 22-year-old girl is inept as fuck. I'm just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you're kind of dumb. Look at you." It's not cute to be a 30-year-old dumbass. It's just it gets less cute every year.
Aw, I think it's cute. I
Thank you.
think you're cute when you're a dumbass, Rex.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's all I ever wanted. I just want to be adorable and stupid. I don't need any of the other stuff that one might have.
Same. I'm working on it. Um, so speaking of being adorable and stupid, actually, today we're talking about My Little Ponies. You wanna
My little pony, my little pony.
My Little Pony. I used to wonder what friendship could be. I will sing the whole song later.
Yeah, it's long too. It's like 3 minutes long.
They really have a whole thing.
They made
Uh,
like verses for a song that is a commercial for a toy for a cartoon character. It just the fucking franchise got out of hand at some point.
it really did. Hasbro got way ahead of themselves. Uh,
Hasbro delved too greedily and too deep, and we wound up with like 16 separate types of My Little Pony stuff.
yeah. Oh, wait, let's introduce the pod.
Oh, right. Welcome to Low Culture Boil, the trash podcast about trash culture. I am your host, Rax King.
And I am your host, Amber Rollo. And today we are talking about My Little Pony. And as we were just saying, when I wrote in the outline, what is My Little Pony? Like, that is a real question because is it a toy? Is it a show? Is it a movie? Is it like a media franchise? Is it a song? The song, there is like two different versions. There's the one that plays before the current show, and then there is like a longer version. So they both,
Longer.
yeah, longer.
More long.
Yeah. It's very intense. Is it a lifestyle? What is My Little Pony? But I'm
It's
talking.
fucking IP at this point. I mean, it's just more, it's, how they like make cartoons now always a little bit for adults and they'll
Mm-hmm.
put in, kind of awkward jokes about the election and shit. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like My Little Pony was kind of on the vanguard
Oh
of this
yeah.
very awkward type of entertainment. It like originated with Shrek and has never fully gone away and will never fully go away.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like at least that the The My Little Pony Friendship is Magic did that. The ones before that did not. They kind of
Right.
screwed the pooch on the show before that. But they did, once they did get it, they got it good. And now there's even, I don't know if you know, there's another show where the ponies actually become human girls.
Oh,
Um,
I don't like that. I
it's
didn't know that, and I don't like it. I kind of
it's
wish I still didn't know that.
it's called the Equestria Girls. I've only seen like clips of it because you have to buy it on Amazon, and I'm absolutely not doing that.
No.
But you, like the main character of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, like wakes up in this world and she doesn't even know what a human being is because in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, very important, there are no people and she's this creature and she has to figure it out along the way. And she
Sounds like
finds
a
all of her old
fucking
friends.
disaster movie. It sounds like The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka.
It's nightmare fuel. It is. I'm like, what is going on? You do not need to do this. I mean, it was a pony who acted like a girl, and now you're. There's no reason for this, but it's called Equestria Girls. If any of you freaks out there want to check it out. But yeah, My Little Pony is a toy line and show developed by Hasbro Toy Company, and they're soft. The original toys are, well, the original My Little Pony toys are soft plastic ponies in pastel colors, and very important, they have brushable manes and cutie marks on their rumps, little like patterns on their bums. I don't know if do you remember the smell of girls' toys when you were a kid?
Yeah, I saw your note in the outline about that, and it just took me right back to, you know how little girls, they always try and chew on their Barbies?
Yeah.
And of course, I would try and chew on my Barbies, and grown-ups would always be like, stop that. And I'd be like, have you smelled this fucking thing, though? It smells so edible.
It smells edible. It's like cherry
Yeah.
taffy. And I definitely chewed on them a whole bunch. And I
Day
think they
and
knew that.
night. Yeah, of
They knew that
course.
we would do that. They made them soft for that exact reason.
It's
But
like how Popeyes like pumps fried chicken smell out onto the sidewalk, or Abercrombie
exactly.
pumps weird cologne into the mall. They want you to be lured in through all of your senses, and they fucking got me. I would chew on my toys day and night.
They know what they're doing.
They knew what they're doing.
They knew what they were doing. But the first My Little Pony was developed by Bonnie Sackerly, Charles Muchinger, and Steve DiGuanano in
These people have
1981.
some names.
I
Jesus
know,
God.
Jesus. But I watched this episode of The Toys That Made Us that I got a lot of this information from. It was a really great episode. Highly recommend it. The Toys That Made Us My Little Ponies episode. And there seems to have been like some arguments over who was the actual creator of My Little Pony. There was also this man, George Dunze, and he was the new fancy head of advanced research and development department at Hasbro. He says he was the father of My Little Pony. Um, there was also another daddy, Cartabiano, Michael Cartabiano, who George took out of the regular research and development department at Hasbro because there was a regular research and development department and there was an advanced research and development department, which I'm sure caused no problems whatsoever. Like, that's totally a cool way to set up a workplace. Uh,
Anytime there's any children's toy, I've noticed this because we've done a few episodes now about children's toys, and then I'll have these sunny memories of like playing with my dolls, playing with my ponies, and then
yeah.
I look into the history of it, and it's just the most turmoil and strife in that workplace. Lisa Frank's workplace was just a straight up sex and drugs cult.
Oh
And
my
then the
God.
Bratz dolls, like folks are getting sued left and right. And it's just always like Sturm und Drang surrounding what should be a relatively low stress venture. It's just toys. You're
I
making
mean,
toys.
are you kidding? The money involved in the toy market? Oh,
Yeah.
it is so much money. So,
People are
yeah.
like extra venal in the
Extra mean in
toy
the.
manufacturing
Yeah.
field. I didn't know until we started making this podcast. I feel like the thesis of Low Culture Boil is never get involved in the production of children's toys because you're gonna like blow your brains out or get sued for everything you have
Mm,
or something, get inducted into some kind of sex cult with your boss. Something
yeah.
bad's gonna
Something
happen to
bad's
you.
gonna happen. Yeah. You're gonna end up working for Scientologists, not knowing that you're gonna be doing that.
Fuck it, I forgot about the fucking Scientologists. It's just
Oh,
cults on cults on cults in this field. What
it's
is
Colts,
happening?
Colts all the way down. Um, it's weird. I don't understand, but I think it's like the way that people think working for nonprofits and working for toy companies similarly are going to be like nice and fuzzy and fun, but it's some of like the meanest, most like hardcore people ever because there's so little wiggle room on the toy side
Right.
because you're making so much money and competition is so fierce, and on the nonprofit side because there's so little money and you're like working really hard to figure out how to fill all those gaps. And then because, yeah, anyway, I used to work in the nonprofit industry.
Only one that
It's
might be
mean.
worse than toys.
it's
Yeah.
it's mean. People are mean there. I
The
did not
only
like it.
industry that's worse than making fun toys for children to have a great time with is attempting to make the world a better place. Those are the two
Oh.
most horrible industries. Don't work in those.
Don't work in them. So there was like Michael, George, and Bonnie, and they were all claiming paternity for My Little Pony, right?
Paternity. Like it's the fucking
Paternity.
Maury Povich show.
Yeah. You are not the father, Bonnie. You are the creator. So the first pony was not My Little Pony. It was actually quite large. It was called My Pretty Pony. It was a larger, harder plastic pony, and it was released for toddlers because at the time Hasbro didn't really have a girls' toys line. They had a boys' toys line because they like did GI Joe, they did Transformers. They were big in that. They were very successful in that. And then they had a toddlers line where they released three toddlers toys per year. And they didn't know what they were going to release for the third toy that year. And they were kind of in a rush. And they looked back at something that Bonnie had suggested of making a horse. And they were like, how do we make this horse that she had suggested for girls, little? They were like, how do we make this for toddlers? Let's make it like big and clunky. But they made it out of hard plastic. Was kind of weird. It had this like little trigger on the bottom of its chin that you would pull and it would open and close the eyes. And it looked kind of like
Ugh.
mechanical, like a car, like closing and opening the headlights or something. It was very strange.
Don't like that either. That sounds haunted as fuck.
It wasn't great, but the thing that it did have was soft, brushable hair. And that was awesome. The hair play. Hair play. Hair play is very important to kids, apparently, especially little girls. Although I will say, I didn't play with like a lot of dolls when I was a kid. I liked Hot Wheels. I liked remote control cars. And in talking about this, we talk about like girls' toys and boys' toys, but I know that there are a lot of girls who play with classically boy toys, and a lot of boys, I'm sure, were playing with My Little Ponies. But hair play is just it's instinctual for us. It's like grooming, and it's really it worked really well to sell toys, and so they kept that part, and they were like, well, this wasn't this didn't sell a large amount, but we think there's something there. So they decided to try to make a version for girls. There was this VP of marketing, Steve Schwartz, and he took the My Pretty Pony home to his wife. And his wife looked at it and was like, like this is okay, but it needs to be smaller and softer because right now it's not very cuddly. Which is interesting because that was something Bonnie had already suggested.
Listen to women, but specifically women who say that toys should be soft. I kind of feel that way about all toys. I don't want to, like, even my Barbies. I
Yeah,
just, I'm only just now developing this opinion, but I feel it more strongly than I've ever felt any opinion. Toys should be soft. Barbie's hair is like not very brushable, actually. Should be
it's
much more
not. It should be
brushable.
much more brushable. I agree. It should be honestly softer,
Yeah.
longer. Like
I would
make
get
it.
so frustrated because I would try and brush my Barbie's hair. My brush would get stuck in the
Mm-hmm.
shitty plastic, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what you call it, weave. And
Yeah.
sometimes I'd tear clumps out. And then, you hate your Barbie forever when her hair's missing because she's ugly now.
I think
Not a
I've
good scene.
I think I've said this before, but when I was in kindergarten, my sister for my kindergarten graduation, my older sister got me this Barbie, the fancy bride Barbie, and it was like a big deal. I didn't realize what of a big deal it was because I was 5,
Sure.
but I took the Barbie and I played with it. And when I was playing with it, what I did was I cut off all its hair and I put dark purple marker on its lips and made it kind of punk rock. And
That's like
my
actually so fucked up though. Like you don't know it as a child. You
I
don't
did
know
not.
what money is or what things are, but the
I
person
didn't
who
know.
got that present for you is like, I'm gonna push you in front of a fucking bus.
Yeah, my sister was pissed, and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I did not know. It was I just was playing. I didn't know you couldn't undo those things. I didn't know that Barbie's
Right.
hair didn't grow back."
People try and explain to a child like this is permanent marker, and I'd be like, yeah, okay, and then
Sure.
just go scribble with it on the sofa, like just goldfish memory. I
Yeah.
have to make the mistake before the thing actually sticks. You can't explain stuff to me at that
Mm-mm.
age.
No, not at all. So when Bonnie, I just called her Bonnie. I love Bonnie, by the way. I think she's
Yeah,
amazing.
this is clearly like a very Team Bonnie podcast because essentially all these other dudes are like kind of jocking her idea and then being like, listen, toots, little girls, you don't know shit about little girls. All
Yeah.
just a bunch of men saying this to someone who used to be a little girl.
Yeah.
Just the wackest shit. Like, be normal.
Because Bonnie grew up, when she was a little girl, she was like, all I wanted was a horse. Like my entire life, all I wanted was a horse. She was clearly a horse girl.
And we're
Um,
going to get into my grand unified theory of horse girls very shortly because
which is
she
excellent.
designed the toy that horse girls actually want. All these dudes are like, what do horse girls want? They want to ride around on and ultimately own a horse. We're going to get into this in a minute, but that is not correct. And they didn't know it because none of those motherfuckers were ever horse girls. They could
Yeah.
never hope to be as elegant and as braided as a horse girl. Did all the horse girls have braids in your school?
Yes, yes. All the
Everyone.
horse girls had braids. We actually
Yeah.
had some girls in my school that had horses because
Yeah.
we were from all over the valley, and some of them actually were in places where they could have horses. It was like we had real horse girls.
Yeah. Us too.
Yeah. But according to Bonnie, when she had brought up the idea of a soft little horse for girls to play with, because all she wanted when she was a little girl was a horse, George Dunze, that new head of the Advanced Research and Development Department, said, "Little girls aren't like you. They like to cook and clean and iron." What
Nobody
the
likes that.
fuck?
5-year-olds, to the extent that a small girl thinks she likes cooking and cleaning and ironing, it's because you shoved a toy in front of her face and were like, this is for you to play with. She
Yes.
could have just as easily gotten into trains or trucks or fashion or
Yeah.
like those weird dolls you put shitty looking makeup on.
Yeah.
Anything. Kids are stupid. They will do, like, they'll play with a little empty toilet paper roll if you put it in front of them for long enough.
Exactly. Yeah. That guy, I don't know. I don't like George Dunze. Something seems off to me about him. He sounds like a prick. He kind of looks like one too. And he looks like a little penis.
Any adult man who's like this invested in a small toy for little girls is a spiritually suspect character, as far as I'm
And
concerned.
he left Ideal to come to Hasbro to lead this advanced research and development department. And when they asked him why he left Ideal, he kind of just like brushed away the topic. He was like, because of not good circumstances, which totally missed the mark. Because of not ideal circumstances, as they pointed out in.
What a dumb
I
fuck.
know. They pointed that out on the show too, and I'm like, yeah, well, come on, guy. But so I don't know what I tried to look up why he left Ideal, but it was nowhere online because probably nobody cared enough to write an article about that. That's a really niche thing to care
Amber's
about.
about to call up this guy after like 40 years and be like, why'd you quit your job? It is extremely funny to be getting interviewed by like a documentarian and they ask why you quit your job and your answer is just, who remembers? Shit
Well,
sucks.
I mean, it's very possible that it was poor working conditions at Ideal. Because it was another toy company, and as we talked about, just not
Who
great
knows what was going
circumstances.
on at that one? Just like mainlining heroin in the toy development department, probably.
Mm. Uh, they're just packing heroin in the dolls.
Not even for some kind of cartel, just because it's
Just
evil.
cuz.
They're
Instead
like, we
of
make
balance.
toys, we make toys. How do we be as evil as possible? The Lisa Frank people have the market cornered on cocaine orgies, and the Beanie Babies guy is just insane. So we got to stand out. What do we do? What do we do that's evil and bad?
They're the ponies always would the first like iteration of them always fell over on their heads. They were just head heavy, and so yeah, they had to like put these metal washers in their butt in order to like sink them down on that side. I'm just imagining that they put drugs in their butt.
Drugs in the butt. Yeah,
Drugs in the
that's.
butt.
I mean, if the doll is falling over on its head, it's kind of a win-win to just cram its ass with crack rocks or any rocks. I don't even.
No,
Let's
it
not
has to
limit
be crack
ourselves.
rocks. Okay. In 1982, they made the first My Little Pony as we know them today. They were softer, they were smaller, they were made out of that plastic that smells like cherry taffy, but they were only made in natural horse colors. And when it was suggested that they make some pastel colors, because, it was a new girl toy and girls like purples and pinks and light blues. And Bonnie heard that idea and she said no. She was like, no, no, these are supposed to be horses and they should be horse colors.
Horse girl till the day she dies. If she's still alive, she's out there riding a horse.
Oh, she is still, yeah, she's still alive. She was at the most recent uh, Bronycon. Bronycon.
Bronycon. I love the idea of
Brony.
pronouncing it brawny, like
I don't know why
muscular.
I wanted it to rhyme with con, and I don't know, just happened. Um, but so they did a test. They were like, Bonnie, please, like we think pastel colors would be good. So they did a test. They brought in some girls to see if they liked the pastel ponies or the natural ponies better. And the pastel ponies were by far more popular.
She
Um,
should have seen that one coming.
Duh. I
It's just
mean,
out of loyalty to horses that she didn't make that call herself. She just didn't want to undignify the horses.
I mean, I'm sorry, Bonnie, but are horses small and soft? I mean, no. They're large, muscular creatures.
That
So,
I don't like, actually. We
oh
may have to
really?
get into this, and I fucking hate horses. Yeah,
Oh
I might as well
no.
come out now.
Are
So
they scary to you or
the
you
way
just don't
I
like them?
explain this is, you've got animals that are small and frantic, like a
Mm-hmm.
chihuahua, small and anxious.
Yeah.
And you've got animals that are big and chill, like I think of a brown bear
Yeah.
as mostly fairly chill. But a horse is this unholy middle type of animal that is large and anxious. And that does not sit right to me. That creature is too big and powerful to be as skittish as horses mostly are.
True. I could see that. I could see that. Yeah, they are like quick. They're a little
Quick,
bit too
yeah.
quick for their size, and that's a little scary. I That's off-putting. I could see
When I
that.
worked at the dog daycare, we would give baths to the dogs sometimes, and the
Mm-hmm.
person doing the bath would leave a little note. Like if the dog was extra difficult, we would charge the owner more. And one dog who was a pit bull got a bath, and the guy who did the bath put in the notes, "Do not bathe again. Too anxious, too strong." And that's what I always think of when I think of a horse. I think too anxious, too strong. Not a good combo. Keep me away from him. I've never had a bad experience or anything. I just don't fuck with a horse. I wouldn't let one close enough to have a bad experience.
You've never ridden a horse?
I've ridden a horse, like a couple times in a
Mm-hmm.
summer camp kind of setting. It was
Yeah.
always fine. I don't, I have no reason to be as afraid of them as I am. You will not find anything in my history
It's
that,
a
I
it's a
used to be
past
afraid of
life
dogs.
thing.
But
Yeah.
yeah, at some point in my spiritual existence, some version of me got just kicked to shit by a horse,
Kick
and
to
I
the
will
head.
never forget it. I don't
Fair.
like them. I don't fuck with a horse.
That's fair. Well, Bonnie would disagree. She, but
Well,
that's
this
fine.
takes all kinds.
But yeah, Hasbro was happy that the pastel colors were more popular because that meant more colors of horses and you could make more ponies, which girls could collect, and collectability was like kind of a key part of their toy making. GI Joe
Yeah.
was huge on collectability. So it cemented. It also like made clear one of the original golden rules of My Little Ponies. They are not horses. You do not play with them like horses. You play with them like a doll.
Right. And this brings me to my grand unified theory of horse girls, which is horse girls do not want to ride around on and own a horse. That might come into play because it's the easiest expression of your affection for horses. But what a horse girl is really after, what every true horse girl wants, is to be a horse. I used to see those little bitches making that sound, like clomping around on all fours at the cafeteria. And it looked weird as fuck to me because I do not want to be a horse. That was not appealing to me. I wanted to be a princess or an assassin, I think, at some point. I had it in my head, but like a
Yeah.
humanoid. I
Oh,
did not want to be a horse.
I never pretended to be a horse, but I did pretend to be a dog.
I
So
think
that
everyone pretends to be an animal once in a while,
I was a
but never a
dog. Not,
horse.
yeah, I don't know why that didn't like come into my head. I do like it when I walk on heels now, especially like chunky heels, and it makes the like click clock sound and I sound like a horse. That's nice.
I
You know
like
that.
that too, but I always tell myself I sound like a bison. Yeah,
Ooh, I like that. Okay. Yeah.
that's a
When you're
preferred
uncomfortable
hoofed
with,
animal.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to feel like I resemble a horse in any way. That's not going to work for my
Yeah.
schedule.
It's also an insult for women these days. Like calling someone horse-faced is
Right.
very mean.
Yeah, I used to my ex-husband had an ex who I used to call Horseface Killer, which
Oh.
is not one of the nicer things I've ever said about someone. She
But
did
it's
not deserve it
but it's
in
funny.
any way. It's so funny though. Like if you have an enemy who's got a little bit of a long face or maybe
Hmm.
those teeth where she could eat corn on the cob through a chain link fence, then that right there is a name you can just steal because I'm not using it anymore. Horseface Killer.
I love it. So Bonnie gave in. She was like, okay, if that's what the girls want, sure. She designed the first six ponies. They were Cotton Candy, Blossom. Blossom was named after her cat,
Of
Butterscotch.
course. Of
Because
course she had a cat named Blossom. I'm
of
so
course she did.
affectionate towards this lady.
I love her. She's amazing. I want her to adopt me. She's my
Yeah.
favorite.
We talk
She's
about
like,
types of guy, but she's a real type of lady.
she's a
That's
real type of lady. She has
classic
like
type.
short, peppery hair. She's like kind of like she would roast you. She'll give you the business, but she's really sweet, you know.
Mm.
She's very certain about her ideas, but also when the girls tell her they want pastel ponies, she's like, okay. She has a humor about her and the way that this asshole treated her at Hasbro. So I like her. The other names were Minty, um, and uh, she talked about how that one looked delicious and that kids chewed on them. And yes, we did. Uh,
Yes. I didn't even play with My Little Ponies, and I remember chewing on My Little Ponies.
I don't. They had that perfect to
They
them.
had a really good mouthfeel,
They
and that's a
did.
word I do not use lightly.
They really did. They were, I mean, it's not surprising that they came from a toddler line because that is sort of a toddler thing. The way that they were shaped and with the soft plastic made it very chewable.
Very
The other
chompable, yeah.
the other names were Bluebell and Snuzzle. Snuzzle was the only natural colored pony. It was gray with pink hair, and Bonnie said she sort of snuck that one in there for herself.
That's really cute.
Yeah. She also gave them rump designs. That's what they were called when they were first given to them. They're like little brandings, basically, on the horses' behinds, little patterns on their butts, and they were later renamed cutie marks, which is a play on beauty marks.
Both of
Um,
those terms sound very horny to
yeah,
me.
don't they?
Kind of predicts the horny future that My Little Ponies have ahead of them. Why give it a tramp stamp? Like I do like the idea. You could put that mark anywhere and call it anything, and you went with the horniest
The butt.
options for both. Yeah, ass tattoo on a horse. Call it a cutie mark. Act like it's not going to get put into porn someday. Like you can't have all three, four,
I
whatever.
I mean, I do remember when I was a kid seeing the cutie marks and thinking they looked like my older sister's tattoos and thinking they were very cool. And I was like, hell yeah, I one day am going to have some cutie marks.
Of my own. And here we are.
And here we are. I do have them. Yeah, I liked them a lot. They also were great because they made them, again, more collectible. Just like, they gave you, even if you didn't know the ponies' names, you could be like, I have the one with shamrocks. I have the one with the lightning bolt. I have the one, like, you can reference these like little butt stamps and then collect them all. And they shipped out to retailers in 1983, and Hasbro didn't realize how big this was going to be. They actually had another toy coming out at the same time that was called Charmkins. It
The
was
fuck is a charmkin? Sounds like shit.
it's like, okay, it's like Polly Pocket, right?
Okay.
It's like a tiny little doll that like plays in a little set and stuff. It comes with like little sets, but also you can take them, the little doll, and attach them to jewelry. You can attach them to necklaces, you can attach them to bracelets, you can attach them to the sides of sunglasses, and they're like wearable as well as playable. Charmkins. They thought they were going to be huge, and honestly, kind of, if I knew these existed, I would have been into it. I would have been
Yeah,
like,
I
yeah,
don't like the name, but I would have loved a little doll that I could wear and show off at school. It was all about showing your shit off at
yeah,
school, and you couldn't have toys, so you
yeah.
had to get creative.
So if it was wearable,
Yeah,
boom. I mean,
yeah,
I did love Polly Pockets. That was one
me
of the
too.
few like girl toys that I really liked. They're just so cool how they're
I
so
liked their little
little.
sets. I liked
Yeah.
the sets more than the dolls, I think.
Oh
And
yeah.
kind ultimately when I would play The Sims, I liked building their houses more than I
Yeah.
liked playing most of the
Yes.
time. I'd spend hours and hours on the houses, an hour playing my little story.
Yeah.
I should have become an architect,
Yeah.
probably. That's what
You
God was
like
telling me.
designing. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, you still can.
I'm
You can
gonna
be
walk
a
out of this
late
podcast
life
and yeah,
architect.
I'll be a late in life lady architect to tell all the other budding lady architects that no, I hate that. I'm not going to do any of that. That's so much school. I don't
That's
want to
so
go
much
to more
school.
school.
No, thank you. It's
I
so
went to
expensive.
all my schools. I did my time in the
Yeah.
mines.
Yeah, Hasbro didn't like have, as I said before, they didn't really have like a girls' toy line. They had tried a couple girls' things. They tried this Charmkins thing. They also tried a set that where you could make your own makeup. It was called like Fancy and Free or something like that. I don't know.
Those things never work.
And it was like a chemistry set.
Yeah.
But those didn't take off. They didn't like have the correct marketing. It didn't work. They sort of just stumbled into this My Little Pony thing, as you've seen. And that year that it hit the shelves, it did 80 million plus in sales. It
What?
was
That's so much. 80
they
million with an M. That's so many little dolls.
yeah, they didn't even know, and they were like 289 per doll. So that's so many sales.
Jesus
Uh,
Christ.
they like
I can't
got
even picture that number in my head. That's too big of a number.
kids were everybody, they were just crazy over them. They were, um as they said in the show, galloping off the shelves. uh,
Fuck me, that sucks. I mean, I'm like thinking about it now though, and it's super interesting to me that they didn't have like a girl specific toy design department
hmm
already. Because
Mm-mm.
by that point, it was very much a thing that like girls and boys played with different stuff. I feel like that started probably around the teens or 20s.
Yeah.
Because before then, there was just, you didn't really pay that much attention to your kids, that you were buying them specific toys. And then once people got a little flush, they could afford to get fussy with their gendering and, buy dolls for this one and buy whatever the fuck boys played with then for the other one. And it had been the case for like 60, 70 years.
Yeah. They just they like kept on like trying little things, I think, before they were like, we're just a boys toy company basically, and then we're going to try a couple little things, and if one of them takes off, then we'll think about that later. But that did make it so it was harder for them to have items that took off because they didn't put any like focus into it.
Right.
But when this one finally did, they did make a toy design team. Unfortunately, Bonnie left Hasbro right before they hit the shelves, like right before this like big, exciting, like it. She made it. She made it. She had a hit,
That's
and
really
then she
sad.
left. Oh,
Fuck.
she got another offer from another toy company. She had been at Hasbro for 5 years, sort of nothing was hitting, and she was like, I should move on. Um,
What did this toy company do? Did they like sponsor fights between homeless guys or something? Because
yeah.
moving on from one to the other is not going to save you, Miss Bonnie. They are all hateful places.
Yeah, I mean, get out of toys, Bonnie. That's
Get
what
out
I
of
would say.
toys. Go be a good little capitalist somewhere else. Toys is not for horse girls. Toys is for people without souls.
Honestly, go do something with horses. I don't know what you can do, but
That's all I ever. When I think of like horse professions, I'm like, yeah, be a vet
uh-huh.
or everything else. You can be a vet to horses, or there's all this other stuff I don't even hardly know about.
You
Go
brush
do one of
them.
those.
You put
Brush
peanut
them.
butter in their mouth to make it look like they're talking.
Horse handler.
Yeah. So they finally made a girls' toy design team, and Keeper Nichols, he joined. He actually had a background in toy car design, so not really a fit for a girls' toy design because he's like very into like, edges and like sharp movements in his designs. And everything he had to make now was all like soft and
Yeah.
girly and rounded. Um, but he did a good job. He like started making all the pony sets. He actually designed Spike, which was the baby dragon in, and still is to this day, the baby dragon in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. One of the only characters that has carried on since the very beginning. So, Spike, integral to My Little Pony, and I'm glad that Kipra made him. He came with this pony castle, Spike did. It was like a baby dragon. He came with a pony castle uh, that another pony came with called Majesty. And Majesty, the pony, was the inspiration for Twilight Sparkle, who is the main character of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic.
Spike is the main character. I don't know what fucking show y'all are watching. Spike is the best part.
Spike
I
is the
don't
best
even like
part.
I don't watch this show religiously. I don't watch it at all anymore, but back when it was a huge thing on Tumblr and shit,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of got into it. Spike was what I lived for. I kind of found most of the ponies themselves to be a little bit prissy, if I'm
I agree.
honest. A little bit
I
prissy.
agree. Spike was the best. And I could see you identifying with him the most.
Oh God, it's true. I'm just an officious little Jew, just like Spike. Spike is Jew coded.
Spike is a little gripey, I will say.
Oh no, it's true. I learned something about myself today.
Sorry.
I learned that I'm Jewish today
Oh no.
through the magic of My Little Pony.
um, I didn't think of Spike as being Jewish coded until you said it, and
It's
you're
I
kind of
didn't
right. Yeah,
either.
you're
I
kind of
just
right
kind of
though.
talked myself into it. He is fully a Jewish man, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah. In fact, he is an old Jewish man. He
He's
is a little
yeah.
bit of a baby wizard, you might say, because he's magic,
Oh yeah, he
but he's
totally is a
too
baby
tiny
wizard.
and can't do things himself. He's too small
Right.
to fly. Um, yeah. Throughout the 80s, though, Hasbro made new ponies to satisfy girls' voracious hunger because they were hungry for more to ponies. They had the fantasy colors, so they decided to make unicorns, Pegasus ponies, sea ponies. I do remember sea ponies coming out. They were a big deal. They were cute as heck.
Yeah.
Loved them. And then in 86 to 87, they made the first like movie and TV show. And to make this, they hired these two guys, Joe Bacall and Tom Griffin. These guys were the guys who made the G.I. Joe show and also the Transformers show. Very boy, very scary, very aggressive. And they hired
Also
these
very
guys
commercially,
very
right? That was
commercially.
like
Yeah, they
that
were
was a big
advertising
thing.
agents. They were not even, they were in advertising. They weren't even in like
Yeah.
like they that was advertising was their gig, and then they
Right.
just like got hired to make shows because that's what these shows were just long advertisements.
Right.
Um, and they hired them to make the first My Little Pony movie and show. It was called Escape from Midnight Castle, Part One.
Part one.
They included that in the thing. They're like, well, this
Folding
is,
in the possibility for a trilogy.
oh my God. It was not on brand. It was scary. It was aggressive. They also had two characters in it, Megan and I want to say her little sister's name was Sally. They were these two little girls, and they rode the ponies in the show, and that's not
That's not
cool.
correct.
That is not allowed. That is not what's supposed to be
Mm-mm.
happening.
They're not for
Um,
riding. They're
no,
not horses. They're horse girls. It's all about
yes,
projection. They fucked up bad
exactly.
with that.
They really fucked it up. It wasn't a success. It was really bad, and people finally caught on to what we were just talking about, how these toy companies were making TV shows that were essentially commercials. There was a few different critics that said things similar to this, but LA Times was my favorite. They said, the sugary cuteness of Little Ponies masks a corporate greed as cold and sharp as a razor blade.
Who hired the fucking poet to write this takedown? You can't say stuff like that anymore.
Not at
Like you have
all.
to write a lot better than that in the year 2022 for a lot less money. If I
Yeah.
were reviewing that show now, I'd have to say a bunch of shit about like Adorno. I'd have to include some kind of highfalutin philosophy,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd have to make a larger point about society. This guy just throws in the most hackneyed simile I've ever seen in my life, and it sounds dope as fuck. And it makes me not want to watch this show. Like, it worked on me. Good job, journalist.
It did work. But like this, the show was not successful. But the toys did sell more. Like, so it did not work as a show, but it did work as a commercial.
Oh,
Um, so in 1992, so they kept on making more ponies. They kept on continuing to do this, but then like in 1992, they started, or a little bit earlier than that, in 90, 91, 92, they started seeing a bunch of competitors enter the market. People were ripping them off. They were just fake My Little Ponies all over the place. There was this one big competitor that they had called Fashion Star Fillies.
ooh.
And they looked like they looked like horses, like little horses. They were like all like muscular. They were like white and brown and gray. Bonnie would have loved them. They
She
had,
probably owns some fashion star fillies,
she
huh?
probably did. They had
House is
some,
full of them.
they had long, like curly hair, so they still had the brushable hair aspect. You still dressed them up. You had like little brides' veils that you would put on them. They were fancy little fillies. And they did like take part of the market. And so, because of all these competitors in 1992, they stopped making My Little Ponies. Um, that Fashion Star Fillies was made by Kenner Toys, and in 1996, Hasbro bought the company that owns Kenner Toys.
If you can't lick them,
Yeah.
join them, buy them.
Just, ate them right up. And so in 1997, they relaunched My Little Pony Generation 2. But they had the Kenner Toys people and the My Little Ponies people, and they like kind of they wanted to make a new My Little Pony. They wanted to put their own mark on it, but they ended up basically merging the My Little Pony and the Fillies together, and they made this weird looking thing
I
that
remember those ones. They were like a little too muscular. They
they
looked
were
a
like,
little too much like a horse. It was too
yeah,
horsey.
it was too horsey. It was a little, it couldn't decide what it was, if it was like soft or if it was long. It flopped. People said it looked like an insect.
I
Um,
thought you were gonna say an incel.
that word didn't exist yet. They took it off the shelves in 1999, but in 2000 they tried again. They were like Gen 3 ponies. And they were closer to the original ponies, but still not great. They made them smaller. They gave them big heads and giant eyes, and they kind of remind me of Bratz dolls, but as My Little Ponies. I think that's that's around the time Bratz dolls were coming out too, I think. So I think they
Yeah,
were like,
every doll kind of had to look like that for a
yeah,
while.
yeah,
It's probably the same with My Little Pony. Like Fashion Star Phillies was originally a ripoff,
mm-hmm,
and then it got a little bigger than the thing it was ripping off, and now nobody knows what that is. Like it's
yeah.
just everything is temporary.
Then there was another one called Gen 3.5, also a flop. It was just a little bit different. Then they made a smaller, they miniaturized it even more, and they made this thing called Ponyville. It was like a set where you could play with all the little ponies. That was like a mix between My Little Pony and Charmkins. And it was fine. It wasn't a hit still. So then in 2010, they hired this woman, Lauren Faust. Lauren Faust, she is an animator. She worked on Powerpuff Girls. She also grew up playing with My Little Ponies, which is very
Crucial,
important because
crucial.
she knew these characters. She had already had stories about them in her head. And so when they hired her to make the new My Little Pony show, she was like on it, and she is a good storyteller, and she was able to tap into what all these little girls playing with these toys really wanted, and she made My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, and it was a hit
The
again.
apotheosis of My Little Pony science, just as good as My Little Pony's ever gonna get, was that show.
Oh my god. And it was pretty good, I gotta say.
It was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
It was notable for being so popular among like adults who should
Mm-hmm.
have not been watching TV shows for kids. And I mean, ultimately, it would become associated with bronies, like adult men who were in the My Little Pony fandom. But it was also super popular among like ex-scene girls,
Yeah.
is how it seemed to be, like Tumblr girls, and it's kind of inexplicable. I mean, that's around the time that it started to become just IP and, snappy dialogue and little in jokes for adults. And it just, the adults just got way into it.
I liked it. I did
Too.
watch it. I did watch all of it. I mean, I stopped watching, I think, in like 2015. I stopped watching it, although it did continue into 2019. That was when the last season was. But I thought it was good. It was good storytelling. It was something nice to have on in the background of things. It was like calm and chill, and the world wasn't really calm and chill at the time, so it felt nice to watch.
Yeah.
Um, then yeah, there she was worried. Lauren Faust, like when she was making it, she was worried that adults were going to find it and they were going to make fun of it. And
Little did she know that wasn't what she had to worry about adults doing when they found it. It wasn't making fun of it.
they did not make fun of. I mean, they did at first. They like watched it at first ironically, as you do, and then ended up really enjoying it and loving it and kind of becoming obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Um, there's like there's even I mean, we can talk more about bronies in a little bit, but let's talk a little bit about My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. That's where that song that we were singing comes from. Uh, there's a whole song. It has each character has a line, but I'm not going to sing it for you. You can look it up.
Or are you? Nah, just not.
There's these characters. There's Rainbow Dash. She's kind of like a badass. She's a Pegasus. She helps control the weather. She does acrobat moves. She's kind of like sarcastic and loves doing pranks. There's Pinkie Pie. She's into surprises and planning parties. She's very goofy, very excited, always like jumping up and down. There's Rarity. She is a fashion designer. She's very fancy and kind of snooty, honestly.
Little bits, I mean, a lot of them have
Oh yeah.
a touch snooty of
Oh
a
yeah.
vibe.
Applejack, very down to earth, not snooty, I would say. She works on an apple farm. Applejack is the name of a liquor, is it not?
I I mean, it's for sure the name of a cereal, but yeah, I think you're
Okay.
right.
Interesting. I always thought that was a little bit strange, but yeah, Applejack
In
works on a
joke for
farm.
the adults,
Yeah.
as always.
um, she, yeah, she makes apples. She's kind of a cowgirl. Fluttershy, she is very soft spoken, shy, but has a connection with animals, is able to communicate with them. And then Twilight Sparkle is the main character, and she's a unicorn. She's magic. She does later become a Pegasus unicorn. Very cool.
That's pretty
Um,
tight.
Very tight, to have wings and a horn. She can do
Yeah,
all the things.
that's lit. Yeah.
And she's like the reason for this story to be happening. She is working for the princess of Equestria. She is researching, the history of Equestria and ponies in general. And she discovers that there is this thing happening where, well, okay, so Equestria started. I'm going to tell you how Equestria started. So
Lay the lore on me. Yeah.
I'm going to lay the lore on you.
Once upon a time, in the magical land of Equestria, there were two regal sisters who ruled together and created harmony for all the land. To do this, the eldest used her unicorn powers to raise the sun at dawn. The younger brought out the moon to begin the night. Thus, the two sisters maintained balance for their kingdom and their subjects, all the different types of ponies. But as time went on, the younger sister became resentful. The ponies relished and played in the day her elder sister brought forth, but shunned and slept through her beautiful night. One fateful day, the younger unicorn refused to lower the moon to make way for the dawn. The elder sister tried to reason with her, but the bitterness in the young one's heart had transformed her into a wicked mare of darkness, Nightmare Moon. She vowed that she would shroud the land in eternal night. Reluctantly, the elder sister harnessed the most powerful magic known to ponydom, the elements of harmony. Using the magic of the elements of harmony, she defeated her younger sister and banished her permanently in the moon. The elder sister took on responsibility for both sun
and moon, and harmony has been maintained in Equestria for generations since.
Fast forward like 1,000 years. Twilight Sparkle is researching this, and she realizes it's the 1,000-year anniversary of this event, and Nightmare is going to escape out of the moon, and she is going to cause night forever. And they have to stop it. And Twilight Sparkle is like very book heavy. She's very nerdy, and she's thinking she can find all this information in the books, but she can't. What she really needs to do is go out and find friends. And the Princess of the Sun is like, hey, you should go to Ponyville, make some friends. And she realizes along the way that friendship is magic, and that's like the real way. They defeat Nightmare. She becomes Princess Luna again. Anyway, that's generally the lore of what's happening.
This is essentially the plot of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's The Magic Flute. For anyone who just wants to skip the lore but would rather watch like a 3.5-hour opera about exactly that situation, that's how you do it.
That is it. One other character is Twilight Sparkle has a little assistant. He is a baby dragon who is too small to fly. His name is Spike. And
I too am a baby dragon who is too small to fly. You had it in the outline, like, which pony are you? And I was really thinking about it, and none of them felt like a match. And then I was like, that's why I'm the little baby assistant dragon.
I kind of called it ahead of time. I was like, I think she's gonna say she identifies with Spike.
All right, well, here we go.
I like it. I see it. I think it's great. I'm sort of jealous. I'm like, I wish I was more of a Spike, but I'm not.
It's no way to live.
I'm more of a mix, I think, between Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy.
That tracks.
But you would think that evens out to Pinkie Pie, but it's not Pinkie Pie. Pinkie Pie is like always extroverted. I'm basically an extroverted introvert is what the mix between Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy evens out to. Kind of very calm and sweet sometimes, but also kind of competitive and aggro sometimes.
That's your Myers-Briggs type. Briggs. Oh, yeah. Jesus.
Yes.
It's Fluttershy / Rainbow Dash. I'm pretty sure that's what the Myers-Briggs is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's all about which pony you are.
It's about finding the type of cartoon pony that most closely aligns with your personality. That's why people take it.
Yeah. So, I was thinking about it and I was like, why is this popular with 20 to 30-year-old men?
I laughed out loud at that question in your outline. Why is
Why?
this popular with 20 to 30-year-old men? I think it's like the specificity of the age range. Like it's men between 20 and 30.
That's it.
31-year-old men are normal.
No.
19-year-olds are normal. Neither of which is true. But
No. But it is true. We've talked about there is this annual convention for bronies, bros who are fans of My Little Pony. It's called Bronycon, and 11 events have occurred to date. The most recent, and it actually happened to be the last one, was August 2019. It drew 10,215 attendees. So
Christ,
pretty big.
that's huge.
They said they were going to go to 2025, but with the pandemic and everything, they decided to draw it to a close in 2019. It also happened to be the year of the final season, so it wrapped up nicely. They have like bunches of panelists there. They have people selling their art. They have people selling official My Little Pony merchandise. They have a concert called Bronypalooza.
Fuck
Yep.
off, Ponypalooza. That's not even a pun. That doesn't even sound like Lollapalooza. You
Not
just
at
put
all.
your thing in front of the term palooza. That's not how it works.
Very strange. But I was wondering why they are into this. And I was looking back and I was like, okay, well, it seems like they latched onto this because it was kind of a good kids TV show, but kids TV shows were bad before that. Like, why were kids TV shows bad? And I was like, oh, because they're large commercials. Why were they large commercials? So in the 80s, every toy that came out had a TV show. Even the Rubik's Cube had a TV show. That's
What the
dumb.
fuck was that show about?
I have no idea. But this had been happening since the early 50s, thanks to another Hasbro toy, Mr. Potato Head, who had the first televised commercial aimed directly at children. Previously, they only advertised to the people who were buying the toys, parents.
Right.
But they decided to try a commercial aimed towards children, and it worked really, really well. And it created a new phenomenon where kids bother their parents to buy them shit they don't need. It's known as Pester Power, you know?
Pester Power. I didn't know there was a name for it. I just kind of thought it was some annoying shit that only I did.
It's a term. It's
Yeah.
an official term, Pester Power. You know, you're like asking your parent for Mr. Potato Head, and your parent's
Yeah.
like, "We have potatoes at home."
It's the funniest response I can imagine to a child is like, Mommy, the potato has little legs and glasses. And she's just like, have
We
a potato
have a
at
potato.
home. Just have an
Yeah.
entire potato with nothing on it.
We got markers, okay?
Yeah.
You can make a little. Come on, get
Just
creative.
take some fucking construction paper, knock yourself out, make some shoes for this
Yeah,
potato that
boom.
I gave you.
I mean, that's honestly, that's what I'm gonna have my kids do. I'm gonna have my
That's
kids
the
do
kind
shit
of
like
parent
that.
I'm gonna be. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be one of those hateful, like, wooden toys parents. Like, make you do your alphabet anytime you want to play. That's just
Oh,
how it's gonna
nice.
be. My kids are gonna hate my ass.
I love that. I just want them to learn how to like make the I mean that's how I grew up as a latchkey kid. I feel like I was making a lot of my shit because when your parents aren't there to pester, you can't get them to buy stuff for you.
Right.
So you just make stuff and it's fun. It's fun to make toys out of toilet paper rolls. You can
Yeah.
make a cool, you can be a pirate with like a little, you know, what's it called? Binocular? No,
Oh,
it's the single one that's
the
binocular.
looking
Yeah,
stick.
the looking
The
stick.
looking device. What the fuck is that called?
I don't know. I don't know why.
I feel like I
can't.
used to know.
I feel like I used to know that too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I used to
Huh.
like choreography because that's something you can do without really any objects. I would like
Awesome. Yes.
I would splatter a bunch of stupid looking makeup on my face and choreograph long dances to
Oh, yeah.
Lou Bega's Mambo Number 5.
Yes, Mama No Fire is a great one. I also,
Yeah.
me and my sister did a lot of dances to Aqua Barbie Girl.
Oh my God, Aqua.
Yeah. Do you
The
remember
shit we used to
Aqua?
inflict on our parents. That's the worst band for a parent. If you're like a Gen Xer or a young boomer and your kid gets into Aqua, that's one of the circles of hell for you.
I loved it so much. I
Me
loved that
too.
album. That was
She
great.
had the highest, most annoying voice, and then there was the guy who sang like this. It was just a
Come
great
on, Barbie,
time.
let's go party.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dr. Jones, Dr. Jones. Like, why do you
Yeah.
sound like a werewolf? Are you a wolfman?
So quickly, when they realized this Pester Power worked in commercials, they started making whole TV shows about toys like Gumby. Gumby was one of the first ones in the 50s. But kids are kind of dumb.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that. And the people making these TV shows weren't really focused on making TV shows. They were focused on making toys and then making content to sell said toys. So the toy makers got lazy. They also, like, this was also during the 70s and 80s, and TV wasn't really watched as a family anymore. You had more latchkey kids. Parents were working and kids were at home watching shit, and it didn't really matter what it was.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of bad TV made to sell products. Um, and my theory is that by the time My Little Pony Friendship is Magic came around, the bar was so low that this show with actual storylines was like a breath of fresh air. Um, and then on top of it, it was like a time that was super tumultuous in the world. I mean, ugh, fuck, they
A lot
all
of
are now.
adults were getting into Steven Universe too,
Yeah,
and they were
yeah.
around the same time. I feel like our generation had a little bit of a stunted period
Mm-hmm.
in like the late aughts to early teens, and we just didn't know what we were supposed to be doing. And I feel like if I want to get meta with it, we were all graduating college and there were none of the jobs that we were
Mm-hmm.
kind of expecting from graduating college, and we're like, well shit, i'm gonna revert I'm gonna revert hard to the behaviors that made me happy when I was 8 years old, because I don't know how to live in the world right now. And to this day, I don't know how to live in the world, but I mostly watch stuff for adults now. So
Yeah.
progress.
Well, good for you.
Cute.
Um, I still watch things for children sometimes, but
I'll watch like my old children's things.
yeah.
Like I'll rewatch the Disney movies of my childhood a lot, but I don't really keep up with children's things anymore.
Oh no, I definitely have not watched any new children's things, but I'll watch like Doug.
Doug, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Or all the
Speak.
old cartoons. I'll watch Ed, Ed and Eddie until the
Oh my
cows
God.
come
Yeah.
home.
I mean well, Doug is similar in this way, but My Little Pony Friendship is Magic had these ASMR elements to it. It was like very soft and like clumpy. You had like little pony clomping noises, and ASMR was actually popular, getting popular at the time too. And then there was like, you remember Adventure Time? That was also getting popular around the same time. So I
Right,
think
right.
we were all craving this kind of softer, I like you said, like reverting to childhood because the world wasn't what it was promised. Not the world didn't end up being what we thought it was going to be is when we got out of college. So that's why I think dudes got into it. I think dudes especially just stand out as the people who are
Yeah.
into it because they're dudes. But like we talked about, also ex-scene girls were into it. At the Bronycon, I think like 34% of the attendees are women. 10% are kids, and like 80 something percent. No, 10% are kids.
10% are kids.
Mhm,
That's so
yeah.
few. That's a children's franchise for it to be 10%. I guess if I'm a parent, I don't really want to bring my child around a bunch of 4chan users.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe that's unfair, but I just don't want to do that.
The thing is, like, then you do have the brony guys. There's like just guys who like the show, and decide to collect things from it and decide this is going to be the thing that they get into. Hold on one second.
Jesus.
Yeah, there's just a lot of sirens.
They're on their way to the toy factory. Somebody's been murdered again.
Oh my God. But then I don't remember what point I was trying to make.
Well, no, I think I know where you were going with that. There's like dudes who just kind of get into it in
Oh
a
yeah,
relatively benign way, and then there's this
kind of
sort of
sexual
4chan
element.
element.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's an element of it that got pretty
Gross.
gross and unpleasant for, in a way that I wasn't super into the show, but I did watch it casually, and it made me not want to do it anymore because all I
Yeah.
could see at that point was the pornographic vision of a bunch of weird, weird guys on 4chan.
Yeah, I mean, they got, it's Rule 34 of the internet. If you can think of it, there is porn of it. And of course, because adults were into this cartoon children's show, they made like cartoon porn of it. And it was weird. There was not just like cartoon porn, it was also like people acting out things, furry type of stuff. You could get like you could get a butt plug pony.
Ah, eh. Don't like that. Oh, like one of those
like
plugs
a
with a
tail.
tail.
Yeah, a tail. Yeah.
Those have
Mm-mm.
always, not to yuck anyone's yum, but I fucking hate those things. Don't get cute with the anal stuff. If it goes in your asshole, let's all just be adults about that. Let's all be honest about what's going in and out of our assholes and call it a day.
But what about when there's a little gem on the end of the butt plug?
That's different. That's
I
for
think
glamour.
that's fine. Okay.
Yeah,
I
that's for
agree. Okay,
that's for
I'm more on the
glamour
same.
and style.
Okay, cool. Just making sure we're on the same page. I
Yeah.
mean, okay. I do like my butt to look like a little troll.
Yeah, a little bit of a decorative
Yeah.
element. It's you don't usually get to decorate your asshole, so I'm kind of on board with that, but enough's enough.
I will say though, pony play, which is a like type of sexual play when like someone is acting like a horse and someone is acting like the person who rides the horse, that is not My Little Pony because you do not ride My Little
Don't
Ponies.
ride the ponies.
You do not
Yeah.
ride the ponies.
Not the same thing. And
Not it.
I seem to remember porn where that was the conceit, was like some My Little Pony stand-in was being ridden around like a horse, and I'm just like, that ain't right.
You're not a real fan.
You're not a real fan. You're a
You're a fake fan.
casual.
Yeah,
You're
you're
fucking
casual.
casual.
Get it the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I don't care if you make the porn, but at least be true to the vision of My Little Pony. You don't ride those ponies.
I agree. But I have one last question before we finish. Is friendship indeed magic?
Obviously.
Obviously, yes.
Obviously, friendship is magic.
Friendship
That's
is
the
the
only magic that there is.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say too. Oh,
Yeah, because
okay.
friendship is magic. That's why we were about to say the same thing.
It's true. Okay. Well, that was our episode on My Little Pony. Speaking of friendship being magic, all friends of the pod should come to our live show at
May
Bushwick Public House.
11th.
May 11th at Bushwick Public House. Get your tickets. We'll see you there. We're going to be dressing in denim because it is a denim themed show. Kelly Bachman and Taylor Guerin are going to be on with us. It's going to be a blast, and we hope to see you there.
Yeah, please come.
Please come. We love you. Talk to you later.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.